Hey everyone, this is hello from some of us who are like you following cricket. We love our cricket. Want to say hello to all of you for taking some time to watch our episode. We have just come together to discuss about the most awaited game of the year. It has to be. It's the World Cup final, and we are talking about the inform Team India, the dominant Team India, who remains unbeaten in the tournament and is facing a team that seems to be designed and developed just for the World Cups. It's Team Australia. We cannot ignore Team Australia. So to quickly introduce on this show, we like you are passionate followers of cricket and especially passionate about our Team India. We have a few topics that we would love to take you all through with our thoughts about the upcoming final. And let me quickly introduce. We have myself, Manmeet. I'm joining from San Diego, California. I have Ravi, who is joining us from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Sanchit joining us from Zurich, Switzerland, and Satish from Austin, Texas. So let's get into it, guys. So the first topic I have on my mind is the toss, the big toss factor, like we all are always concerned about. So just to kind of pull you guys all in, so far the four matches that have happened, three of them have been won by the chasing side. Yeah, one exception being Australia. They were able to defend their 282. This is against England. Spin has been very effective in restricting the runs, but I think the bulk of the wickets so far has been by seam pacers, right? We have Gerald Coetzee from South Africa, has 4 wickets on the surface, and I think he's matched by Chris Wokes from England. So in general, the run scoring has been on the lower end, but then the factor is the big boundaries that comes into play. Rain, as you guys know, it's not going to be a factor. It's in the notoriously dry western side of Gujarat, so I don't think that's going to come into play. So we'll see how it goes. And I think in some of the articles that I've seen, looks like it might be the same pitch that India and Pakistan played, and this was almost a month back. So yeah, let's dive into this. On to you, Satish. What do you think about the toss factor and how important it'll be for the finals?
Yeah, I was reading the same thing, right? I mean, 3 out of the 4 matches won by chasing team, but I was never in doubt about what India's strategy is going to be. And I think India will bat first because India is meant that batting template is, made for batting first. And India will also have at the back of their minds what they went through in their previous match, right? Against Australia. India were struggling when chasing 16 for 3, and Hazelwood was just running the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to very much play in India's mind. And I don't think Rohit is going to have any qualms about batting first. I think he's just holding his opinions and reserving it, but I don't think it's going to be a factor for India.
Mm-hmm.
Australia, on the other hand, they might consider chasing, but even though it's a big pressure game, like you said, dew is going to might be a factor for them.
Mm-hmm.
And if the ball does skid on under the lights, right, then I don't know. Australia might consider chasing because it'll be easier to bat, and the spinners might be negated. So it's more about what Australia is going to do, but I don't think for India it's going to be a factor. We are going to bat first, I'm pretty sure.
Got it. Okay. What do you think? Let's move on to Sanchit. What do you think, Sanchit?
So I think I agree with Satish here. I think India will want to bat first. More so also because Australia is not a good chasing side. They might have
Mm-hmm.
had the maximal magic of getting dropped 25 times and making that 200. But other than that, I think they are a very poor chasing side, and I don't think they will want to chase in the first place. It's a matter of like maybe India sort of wants to bat first, but it is more to do with the fact that Australia is not a good chaser.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And let's bring Ravi into this. Let's see if Ravi has a different opinion.
Yes, I do agree with both what Satish and Sanchit just mentioned. That both captains will actually prefer to bat first. It's a high pressure game. They would like to play it safe, not take any chances. Bat first and then put pressure while bowling second.
Got it. Got it. So what happens now, in case like Satish, to your point, just to come back to the toss factor, do you think it's really relevant if even if we lose the toss? Because everybody says, be it knockouts or the finals, chasing will always be a pressure. Even if Australia manages to get 230, 240, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a different ball game. So, what do you guys? How do you fancy India's chances if we have to chase?
I still feel India has the better batting lineup, and they would, they. I mean, I don't think they'll have issues chasing if one of Kohli or Rohit gets going. The the problem, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I think, you know, chasing, they might be aware of the fact that it's a big pressure game. Scoreboard pressure is going to come in. I think India has the bowling attack quality to restrict Australia. So, like it happened in the first game, right? Australia, if I remember right, they got onto a really good start against us. They were like 70 for 1 or something like that, and then these spinners put a choke on them. So I don't think Australia are going to get 350 or anything like that in a high pressure game. It's probably going to be restricting them somewhere around 250 to 280. And I still feel India will back themselves to chase it. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, no one can predict the due, and it's if Dew comes into picture, and if both Jaddu or Kuldeep cannot turn the ball, then Australia have a chance.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. Let's get into the due factor a little bit. How much of that should be a concern, given the 4 games that have happened so far?
So to add to that factor, I think going back to what Satish was saying, yes, that will be a concern with Jadeja and Kuldeep not being able to spin it. And I mean, even though we said like India will bat first, I don't think India is so wary about batting second either, because we've got the players. I mean, it's a big boundary, so the ones and twos that Virat and the others are used to getting once in a while and not really depending on the big hits to actually make it happen, really puts us in a better controlling position when we are chasing even a longest total on a big
Right.
ground. Because if you compare that with like an Australia where you have maybe a Travis Head or a Maxwell who depends on hitting the big sixes, they're not really good at rotating the strike and really milking the attack when it comes to a big ground. So I feel that is also a factor where maybe even Rohit Sharma might say, hey, you know what, I'll have a good spin attack right at the start, choke them to a below par total, and then chase it down.
That's a really good point, actually. I mean, so far we have chased. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe 4 games. The first 4 games we have been chasing, and
Right.
India looked fantastic. Maybe the difference for me would be the couple games where Rohit Sharma really attacked well, and it doesn't matter when Rohit gets going, whether it's chasing or batting first. I think the platform he builds is just amazing. So I think that will also be one differentiating factor. If we get into a situation like the way our campaign started, India versus Australia, the first game, if we get into a situation like that where we don't have that Rohit punch knock, what do you guys think? Like, how can we handle that? Now it's finals. It's not a game opener. It's not a tournament opener. I don't think we can afford that in finals. Yeah. What do you think, Ravi? What's your thought process on this?
You're right. So if Rohit gets out early, it's always going to be a challenge. We don't have a long tail. That's going to be a weak link. So if Rohit gets out, then Virat, is the only player we have who needs to continue to knock singles, take twos, and slowly build on that. So that's going to be one big challenge that I foresee happening.
Yeah, yeah, very true. So let's now actually dive into the next point that we have that we would love to discuss. Um, what is the team balance like, right? What will be the key men for Australia or India? And in terms of at least the vital performances, we know India is not just dependent on one batsman or one bowler. I think we have this amazing balance where, for the first time, I would say, like in a tournament as important as World Cup and an ICC tournament, we are the most balanced side when it comes to bowling and batting. Fielding, I still have a little bit of reservation, especially because of the way things turned out in semifinals. But I still feel like we are super balanced team in that regard. Uh, let's start with you, Sanchit. What do you think the team balance looks like, and who might be the key players, to look forward to?
I think on India's side, definitely, as Ravi was mentioning, Rohit Sharma is definitely a big player. Big moment for both Rohit and Virat to actually come through, because I mean we can put our money on the fact that this is their last World Cup. So that they'll be looking to actually like go out with a bang. But at the same time, I think I have a feeling that looking at finals in the past, Shubman Gill is due for a big one. From a
Hmm.
he hasn't scored a century. He was seen as the guy who would be the leading with run cricketer in the tournament, and you can see Rachin Ravindra sort of taking the post as the most incredible youngest player to play the World Cup. So he'll be itching
Mhm.
for a big knock. He was there
Right.
in the semi-finals. I think, other than the cramps, which I feel
Mhm.
is sort of sad that at his age he's not able to get through. But
Mhm.
the heat and everything can get to you. But he'll be itching for at least one century before he goes out. And then you also have we have the problem of plenty, right, in terms of the batting. Like Shreyas
Mhm.
Iyer has two knocks that have been amazing. I think another one would be amazing, great too. KLR has played a very balanced sort of World Cup where he's played
Mhm.
the innings where he had to solidify the innings, as well as the innings that he had to just hit out and make runs in the power play at the end. So
Mhm.
it's, but I would put my money on Shubman Gill to be the guy for the finals if I had to pick one.
Perfect. No, that's great. What do you think about Australia's balance? Do you feel like there will be some key players that are going to be in the forefront? I found the team extremely
So
unpredictable this time.
I think for Australia, there are only two players who hit higher than 120 strike rate. I think
Mhm.
David Warner is great. I mean, he can score a good 60, 70 at the top, but I don't see him going all the way. I think
Mhm.
Travis Head and Maxwell are the two sort of unknowns who can just break the sides apart on the other side. I don't think anyone else has a game that takes them beyond the 120 strike rate consistently.
Mhm.
I'd
Okay.
almost keep giving strike to Labuschagne and Smith to that a long period so that they don't score as much.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. What do you think, Satish? What's your team balance opinion? Like, who do you think is going to shine tomorrow?
I don't know if they're gonna necessarily shine, but I feel like, I mean, Sanchit gave a good, batting point of view. I feel like Jaddu is going to be the key,
Hmm.
simply because of the number of right-handers in their lineup, and
Hmm.
also because of the fact that Jaddu has done really well against them in the test matches, right? He really has
Hmm.
some kind of mental ghost over them. That he's won so many match awards against them.
Hmm.
I feel like the way, if he runs through the middle overs, is going to be the key for India. If we end up chasing or something like that. Um, just like the first match, right? They got off to a flyer and then they got really restricted by the spinners in the middle. I think Jaddu is going to be the key. Shami, of course, has been phenomenal. So nothing to say about him. He's again, India will look to Shami and Bumrah to kind of do the upfront power play, bowling and killing them. But um, Shami and Jaddu for me from the bowling side. And then from Australia's point of view, I do think, if India gets both Warner and Head, I think the game is pretty much in their bag. I don't really see Australia sustaining or to go on to make a big score or chase our total if one of those two gets out in the early power play overs. The other key bowler for Australia is going to be Hazelwood. I think he just has that in him to trouble key players, and I do see if he gets Rohit or Kohli early, it's going to be a massive boost for them. And I see Hazelwood as one of those, like we saw in the South Africa game, right? He was just running riot over that lineup, and the way he bowled those first 6 overs, agree there were overcast conditions and stuff like that, but he's a line and length bowler. If he hits the pitch hard, and he's very hard to score off. So I do see Hazelwood as a key.
Great points, actually. Do any of you remember in 2015 semi-finals who got Kohli out? Was it Hazelwood? Yeah, I'm actually drawing a blank as well, but it just reminds me of that they are going to try that kind of short pitch, short ball attempt. Actually, obviously on IR, but even on Virat when initially he's trying to get off the mark and get going. So I just remember that ball just jump up in the air, and pretty much our match was done in 2015. But those are some good points. What about Stark? If he does, like, any chance he's going to find some swing in the initial overs? Satish, what do you think about? I know you didn't mention anything about Stark.
Stark actually got into the groove last match, right? He's such a key bowler for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have doubts about this wicket doing anything for him. It's all I hear about in the media is it's going to be slow and low. And even though there are early signs it's going to be a firm pitch, I doubt if there's going to be any swing in the air that he found in Eden Gardens. And if without swing, just like Bolt, Stark, has struggled through the World Cup. But you never know. I mean, he's he might come back and pick 3 wickets, and bowl those Yorkers he's known for. So you never know with him. But yeah, I mean, Stark and Hazelwood are such big bowlers for them.
Very true. Very true. Let me move to Ravi. And Ravi, just to kind of give you a lead, what do you think about Maxwell? Like, he's played some really big knocks, but they've not come against big teams. Like, how much of a factor is Maxwell really for tomorrow's game?
He definitely is when chasing. If you're chasing and then he's hit or miss. Like he's very much unpredictable. He himself will not know if he's going to do well or not that particular day. He takes a lot of chances. So I'm like I wish and pray he doesn't do well. That's all I can say. But then he's one player who can change the match single-handed. We have seen that happening.
Yeah, I think my read about Maxwell is always that, he's going to go for it. I don't think he has the game where he's going to sit, construct, build. I mean, especially any batsman, going for a reverse sweep or sweep early on in their innings, it almost feels like, they are either looking to unsettle the bowlers or they are themselves unsettled, in terms of their innings. So I do feel like I think you said it right. It's a clear hit or a miss. You never know what to expect with Maxwell. But I think our bowling unit is really good to kind of handle a player of his caliber. So yeah, I think the other areas where I was thinking, in terms of the team balance, how much is Kuldeep a factor? He's going to be coming up with really good spin for this game.
So Kuldeep is going to be a key against Maxwell because I think Maxwell can hit pretty much all bowlers, but I do have a feeling he struggles to pick Kuldeep or any other unorthodox bowler. And if he tries to reverse sweep him or do all those fancy things, I think Kuldeep can get his wicket.
Got it. We spoke about Maxwell's batting. I also wanted to quickly come back to India's batting, right? Where we've not seen any signs similar to even Warner actually. To a degree, I feel he takes more risks, to kind of really up the innings. In India, I only see Sky coming as one of those key players. And when I think of Sky, Surya Kumar Yadav, I can only relate to him in overs 41 through 50. If we are in a scenario where we are actually 3 or 4 wickets down, what does happen, right? Because I feel like I don't know if we have the right. Hopefully, KLR stays there to kind of take us through. But yeah, just I know there are no concerns about batting, but what is that mindset? Maybe I'll come to you, Sanchit. Like, if we do have those quick wickets that are gone, right, in the first 10 overs, where the ball might swing, do we have, enough firepower to kind of take us through?
Going back to the 3 wickets or 4 wicket situation that we've been there, right? We've been there
Yep.
in the first game itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only situation that you're talking about is when Virat and Rohit, both of them are in the three wickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we kind of like have to depend on Iyer and or KL Rahul to actually play that long role. So we have seen
Mm-hmm.
KLR play that role in the past. And I have seen Iyer sort of like play those dual roles very well. He has the ability to do a 20 ball 40, and he has the ability of 40 ball 35 and then moving on to 80 in like 75. So
True.
both of them have that two-sided role within them to actually be able to play both those kind of games when it's needed. Now, Sky is kind of like Maxwell for me. He is a bit quirky, and I wish that in some cases he sort of like keeps his head and plays a bit sensibly, but we have not picked him for that. I think he is
Correct. That's
supposed
true.
to be that X-factor player for us. And if we had Hardik and Jadeja following him or in that batting lineup, it would have been okay. But since after Sky we only have Jadeja, it is a bit of a risky situation where I think even Jadeja is able to actually like play a role where he can hang in there for a while before he starts playing. But Sky, I'm pretty certain that he's probably a 30 ball guy for us.
Sorry.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's like a 75 ball guy. Unfortunately, or fortunately.
No, that's such a great point. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Ravi. Go ahead. You had something to
Yeah,
add.
that's true. I agree with Sanchit. Yeah, the only the risk I see is like we get into a like a 30 for 4 or 50 for 4 in like 12 overs, and then we expose our middle order, and then say Iyer and then KLR are playing, or like let's say we lose Iyer and then we have Sky and then KLR playing. That's one of the trickiest situations we could likely be. I mean, we should also anticipate that we could likely be in that scenario, and then think of how to like build an innings. I kind of stress more on KLR doing his job right. He's been successful in like pacing his innings and accelerating it when need be. So I'm counting on KLR more, but Sky he hasn't demonstrated that. Like T20, yeah, we have seen him lasting. He definitely has that potential, but then it all comes down to taking calculated risks when it comes to hitting the ball, and then he needs to like stay there till the 45th or 46th over and take those chances rather than going for it in the 38th over and exposing Jadeja. And then if Jadeja is out, then our lower order is like very weak here. They're not potent enough to score, and that's our biggest weak link. Unlike Australia, who have a better lower order, and like I'm thinking they may drop like Labuschagne and then bring Stoinis likely tomorrow. That's one possibility because both like Labuschagne and then Steve Smith, they are almost similar kind of players.
Right.
So bringing
Yeah.
in Stoinis would actually give them extra bowling option. And also Travis Head bowling is off spinners. Well, already he took wickets and he was the man of the match last time. So if you look into it, that bits and pieces, like when it comes to bowling, is much more stronger than our bits and pieces. If one of our bowlers have a bad day, then then we need to know how we're going to offset it. We can't just rely on Virat Kohli or any other player. They are not that potent enough. So that's,
True.
I think, could be a weak link.
True, very true. And that's a perfect segue into the third topic I had in mind is the bowling attack, right? Our team India has been really touted to be, and I feel so happy saying this. First time ever, I think we are the best bowling unit in this tournament, and it's like so good. Maybe I'll come to you, Satish. How will the bowling attack, line up for both the teams?
Yeah, I do think India have a more well-rounded attack. Australia are over-reliant a little bit on the top two bowlers. And I mean, Australia do also have a risk about relying on part-time spinners too much. I don't think India are going to play Travis Head the same way South Africa did. Um, Neither are India going to play Maxwell the way other teams are playing. India
Mhm.
actually that's where you have Iyer in the middle, right? And trying to control the spinners, and he's really good at it. KLR knows how to play spin, and Kohli, we don't even need to talk about him. So I feel like India do have the upper hand. The only maybe a looming question for India, maybe it's playing at the back of their minds, is Siraj's form. If Siraj doesn't deliver and he goes for runs, then what do India do? They don't have an option. Otherwise, I mean, they just have to bowl him for 10 overs, and they don't have a way to hide him. But I do feel India do have the upper hand. I feel we have too much quality in the middle with Kuldeep and Jadeja. I still feel with so many matches, and we are almost into the final, I still feel Hardik's loss is a big loss for us, with the balance especially. I know he probably hasn't done much with his batting or bowling, but I feel like him bowling 10 overs is such a key that we lost. And we always are at a risk when starting a match with just 5 bowlers. It's not our ideal strategy, but looking at the brighter side, it has allowed us to play Shami, right? And that's where he's really shown. So it's a blessing in disguise for us so far. I feel it'll continue for now.
Oh yeah, what an amazing blessing in disguise. I mean, no words to that addition. There are almost talks that Hardik Pandya is the key player still by being out of the team. But I get your point about the balance. I think yeah, that there is that small risk we carry. Coming to Sanchit, right? You what do you think about Zampa? I know we had a small discussion in our group that he's still, one of those leaders, but I do feel we are well equipped to handle him. But yeah, just your quick thought on him.
I think even before I get into the bowling attack, the one wish I have is Shami keeps ahead of Zampa and even Bumrah sort of
Yes.
overtakes Zampa. Because it's a travesty to see him sort of get hit for like 60, 70 runs every match and just get wickets as well on the side. Jokes apart, though, I agree with Satish. I think, of course, uh, Hardik Pandya's loss is a big one. I think we've had in our group we have had debates about whether we should have had Ashwin play instead of Shardul. But now that
Yes.
I look
Yeah.
back at it, I think it would have been amazing if we had Shami in that particular equation and have Hardik Pandya as well, and still have the two spinners to actually lead us. But the balance of the bowling attack is amazing. I think yes, we do miss some of the part timers that we were used to in the back in the day with Sehwag and other people sort of rolling their arms. I'd love to see Virat take a wicket as well. So that's the joy of the century if you have Virat taking a wicket.
Yes.
But if you look at the Australian side on the other hand, they present a huge opportunity with that fifth ball to actually be available for us for an 80-90 kind of a tank where we can just keep hitting those guys out of the park. What is interesting with Maxwell is that I don't know how he gets wickets. He's like the Yuvraj Singh of the back in the day. I don't even understand how he gets it, but people do end up giving him something. So it's quite interesting to see even Travis Head in the last one. I don't even know what South Africa were thinking about. They were looking at him and thinking it's Warren or something more. So, I mean, bowling attacks, I can totally say we are way ahead of it.
Mm-hmm.
The equation, I agree with Satish about Siraj as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
when Shardul was playing, he sort of took away the blame from Siraj, because I thought Siraj was as bad in terms of the economy as Shardul was, but he kind of like took most of the blame.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I know that Siraj has been so consistent over the past few years. I would still
Right.
put him below the pecking order, even before the World Cup started, below Sami. However, I think he has shown us with his form in the recent past that he's able to take wickets. He's always unrelentingly at the batsman, and even if
Mm-hmm.
he has a bad over somewhere, it doesn't sort of affect his next over. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
His mental state doesn't stay there. So he's still able
Mm-hmm.
to take a wicket after a 15 run over, and take a wicket in the next one. It doesn't sort of like lingering remain with him that he's been hit, which is a good thing
Mm-hmm.
about Siraj for me.
True. True. But you know, now that you mention about Siraj, there is that one looming point, and I think many are thinking about is Ashwin a better choice tomorrow over Siraj?
I would say, I mean, if we had a lot of left-handers in
Oh
that
yeah.
particular team, I
Hmm.
would have
Hmm.
gone for Ashwin hands down. However,
Mm-hmm.
I think Ashwin, what I would expect of him, or I think he would get us if he played, is a 48 for one kind of a 10 over test.
Mm.
I don't think he is the bowler that can get you a 50 for three, which is what we
Mm-hmm.
need if a bowler of that stature is brought in
Mm.
place of someone else. And we have seen that. I mean, if we look at the spin bowling attack, I think we are probably only second to maybe Afghanistan in terms of
Mm-hmm.
what they have, in terms of the repertoire of spinners. With the two spinners, we are still leaps and bounds ahead of any other team that has spin. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
pace bowling, we all three of us, the players have sort of performed better than any other pace bowling attack. So even with the
Mm-hmm.
two that we have, I think we are still ahead of almost, I mean, all the teams that have played this one. I don't
Right.
see that being a factor, or them changing it last minute just because
Mm.
they want to play Ashwin in that particular.
Mm. That's a good point. No, that's very well explained actually. Um, let's do. Uh, there's another concern that's floating in everybody's mind, and I want to bring in Ravi to kind of take us through this. Um, a concern, a nightmare, or if you will, a blind spot for Team India. What is it that can derail us in this finals? What is it that Australia might do that can really throw us off? Off to you, Ravi.
Yeah, so one possible scenario is India elect to bat,
Hmm.
and I keep talking about that hot spell always from Stark, and likely Stark actually bowls a hot spell, which Satish definitely disagrees with that point always. So likely, like we have a hot spell from Stark or Josh Hazelwood, like in tandem bowl together, and then take like 3 to 4 wickets, and we're 4 wickets down. We need to see how we can back ourselves and then post a decent total.
Hmm.
And just in case this total is not like good enough, and then Warner and Head have a good day and have a great opening stand, and then we have Smith who can like bat slowly and then take the team forward slowly. So that one scenario could actually likely be. I'm not saying it's a blind spot. Like we've been there, we've done that before,
Hmm.
and we need to anticipate that scenario and then think what we can do in those kind of scenarios.
Hmm.
Our only positive aspect here is our bowling. Our bowling is super strong. It's Bumrah's home ground, and he knows how to bowl exactly where to bowl. Already he's a master in that, but then exactly to know, he knows every nook and corner of the pitch, and he knows how to bowl there exactly. Of course, like we have other bowlers, it's going to be slow and slow wicket. Rohit mentioned in the press conference as well that it's going to be slow. So Jadeja and then Kuldeep are going to be handy. The only weak link I see is that we could likely have the batsmen have to pick on one bowler, and I'm thinking it's likely going to be Siraj who might get picked. And if we are
Hmm.
lucky, then there'll be someone waiting near the boundary, and it could be a catch.
Hmm.
So that's where I'm thinking we could likely go wrong, and then have an off day, and then they win the match tomorrow.
Got it. Got it. What about you, Satish? Anything you see like a possible
I
risk?
see with both Kohli and Rohit gone, they dropped a
Kohli
catch
was
of him.
dropped. That's
Otherwise,
true.
it would have been 24-4.
Hmm.
We might have been, it was a totally different situation. It would have
True.
been. So something like that happening with Rohit, playing his old, selfless ways, but let's say he skies one, right? And he's gone within the first 3 overs, and then Kohli is in, and then something happens again. I'm looking at Hazelwood as that kind of bowler who can nick Kohli
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
He's exactly that kind of bowler that he's done that many times over test
Hmm.
matches. Kohli has gotten out to him, and let's say both are back in the pavilion, and Gill, hasn't had that long innings yet. And KLR and Iyer, we have trust in them. But that's the only way I see it happening is when we are chasing a target, and
Hmm.
if it's 280, 270, and we've got our top two guns out or back, then we might be in for some trouble. We have a long tail, and it might get exposed. That's the only way I see it. I don't see a situation where we bat first. We still lose Kohli and Rohit. I still see enough
Hmm.
power and to make 250 or 270, and with our bowling attack, I see it enough to
We
restrict
can
them.
defend it. Hmm.
Yeah.
Bhavin.
For some reason, I'm counting on Gill, and then Rohit and Virat may likely have baggage of the past.
Hmm.
Gill is fresh, and
Hmm.
then he does not have the baggage of the past. And then
True.
I think he might just hang in there and then score runs and then keep going.
Hmm. True. True. Sanchit, let's get your point of view in as well. If any blind spot
Ravi,
that you think.
did you mean Gil? I missed the name of the person you said. Is that Gil?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ravi was
Yeah,
talking about.
I actually go back to Gill's innings in the Gabba Test match, right? He was the one that started it with the 90, and he didn't have the baggage of playing in that way. He actually got out, but he sort of set the ball rolling for Pant to take on and
Hmm.
do it. So that's very interesting that Gill doesn't have any baggage of the past. But of course, like all of us on the panel have the 44-4 baggage of the past. We keep thinking of that scenario that we have seen in the
Yes.
past, and we are like hoping that it never happens again. But I'll
Hmm.
also say, like, I think one of our bowlers getting injured, that's a risk. And then
Hmm.
the other side is one of head or even we didn't talk about Marsh. He's also one
Hmm.
of those guys who's like very unpredictable in that batting order. I think one of the top three having a really great game and hitting it out of the park, and although it's a big one, but still sort of being playing the innings of their life could be an interesting scenario where that could really derail us.
Hmm.
Uh, but for the most part, it's India's game to lose. I don't think it's
Yep.
Australia's game to win. I think it's up to if we sort of like get in our own heads and do something horrible or get ourselves in a bad position, that's when we'll be losing. I don't think if we Australia's great play is gonna make it happen. It's gonna be us sort of like not playing to our potential. That's gonna be a problem.
Very well said. No, I truly believe that tomorrow's cup is India's cup to lose. I think we are the formidable and the favorites, but the team to really win that. And I feel we deserve that. I think we've played really good cricket in all departments. Yes, fielding was a little bit 50-50 in the last game, but I think it's a good thing because the team will kind of come prepared for it in the finals. But no, this is great. It's so nice to kind of dive deep into some of these topics with all of you. And let's do some quick predictions as we wrap up this session. Obviously, the first one is an easy one. Who will win the World Cup? Satish,
I think it's India.
India. Sanchit,
India.
Ravi.
I'm going with India.
Yeah, same here for me. So it is 4-0 for India. And let's this is an interesting one. Who is your maybe the player, or who do you think will be the player of the series? Let me start with Ravi.
Based on stats, Virat Kohli looks the favorite to win the player of the series with the amount of runs that he has scored, over 700 runs. He's likely to be the player of the series. But in all fairness, if we win the World Cup, I would actually give the player of the series award to Rohit Sharma, given the way he captained, and then the given the number of runs that he scored. The 500 odd runs came in with
Mhm.
handy 40s and then 80s and 90s, and he played
Mhm.
selfless innings. So my
Mhm.
vote is actually for Rohit, but with the stats, if you go and the media coverage that Virat Kohli received after his 50th century and all that, like he's media's favorite and everybody's favorite to get it.
True.
But my vote is for Rohit.
Fantastic. No, that's very interesting. I didn't think about Rohit. How about you, Sanchit? Who do you think will be the player of the series?
I think, as Ravi said, it'll be tough to look beyond Virat.
Mhm.
In
Mhm.
realistic terms, I think he's done amazing in this World Cup. But I would actually, if I had the choice of making the man of the series, it would be Mohammad Shah, because
Oh
I think
yeah.
a lot of people, a lot of batsmen have scored a lot of good runs. There are a lot of
Mhm.
people in the 600s or the 500 range. Of, I mean, everyone's made runs. Almost every team has a great 600 run guy or 500 run guy. I don't think anyone has the kind of
Mhm.
bowling that Shami has brought to the sport. So if he has a good final and he gets another even three wickets or 4 wickets even, it's tough to look beyond a guy like that who's played less
Mhm.
number of games and delivered more than 25 wickets for his team.
True.
And in
Yeah.
prime times, I mean, I think the
Mhm.
7 wicket haul in the semi-finals was next to impossible, next to
True.
brilliant. I mean, it was just you wouldn't even know we were playing in India at that point in time. You
Yeah.
would think
And
it's somewhere outside of on a
on a pitch that favors the batsman so well, 7 wickets. It's like,
yeah.
yeah. So you're so well said, Sanchit. And Satish, how about you?
Yeah, I think Virat will be the player of the series for. I mean, whether I think even if he scores a duck tomorrow, I think he'll be the player of the series.
Hopefully
Um,
not.
I and I echo Ravi's point that with all the
Hmm.
attention on him with the 50th century and all that, and
Hmm.
they're even talking about carrying Virat on the shoulders, just like how we carried Sachin, right? I think
Hmm.
they have plans of Gill carrying Virat on his shoulders, something like that. I was reading,
Oh
but
wow. Hmm.
I think he'll be the man of series. It would be ideal, or it would be good to see a bowler get the man of series. Like I don't think
Yeah.
any bowler is more deserving than Shami. I actually looked back, and World Cup has pretty good history of Glenn McGrath was man of series in 2007. He was like the runaway
Hmm.
candidate. I don't think
Hmm.
anyone can disagree with that. And 2015 was Stark. It was just Stark's World Cup.
Hmm.
He was amazing in that. And so there are a couple of instances where bowlers have been given. So I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if Shami makes it, but I still think Virat will make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
No,
it because
I.
Gill can't
Yeah.
carry Rohit? That's all.
That's a good point.
I seriously doubt he should make that choice.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with the three of you. I think the media coverage, I mean, there's just so much going for Virat right now. But I do strongly feel that, it's high time bowlers get the similar recognition. And I think only one point I would like to compliment to what Sanchit and Satish said is, Shami has played 4 games less, and to be where he is right now the leading wicket taker. If he takes more wickets in the finals, I don't think anybody can touch him. The runs that he's given is very, very low. Like I don't have the exact numbers with me, but I know it's very low. And he's played 4 games less. So yeah, he really deserves to be the player of the series. But we'll see. We'll see what they decide. Yes, go ahead,
I want
Satish.
to
I
add
think
something to that, Manmeet.
yeah.
I think if you look at Shami as well, he's
Hmm.
played 3 World Cups. None of the 3 World Cups
Hmm.
he was in the starting 11. And he's
Hmm.
played, I don't remember the exact stats, but he's played like 15 games or something, and he's got
Hmm.
more than 55 wickets or something. It's
Wow.
unheard of.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
his average is under 15, I believe. I haven't
Wow.
looked at the stats, but
I think
that's what
he's
I heard.
averaging 11. I was just going to say he's
11,
averaging
yeah,
something like
even better.
crazy, like 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the fact that he's not been the starting pacer in 3 World Cups with the quality he brings is absolutely insane. I said this to you guys on chat one of the days. I think he's a Dravid to Bumrah Sachin. Everyone's sort of talking
Right.
about Bumrah, and I'm not taking anything away from the quality and the caliber of Bumrah. But if you look back at this era of like 10 years or 15 years of India's pace bowling, I think Shami, if you look at the records and if you look at the kind of impact spells he's brought in the second innings of a test match or in World
Mm.
Cup, he's second to none. I think he's right up there, even higher than Mumbai in some cases.
Mm.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why Shami, Bumrah is now a number one bowler. Shami was kind of not in the initial 11. If you go back to semifinals, he didn't do well in that match. And then if you go back to 2015 semifinals, he didn't do well in the one day match. And then also, if you look into the semifinals, he didn't do well versus England in the T20 match.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of factors of this kind has been dissuading the captain to pick him in the first 11. So that, I mean, it's my opinion. I could be wrong, but then that's what I'm thinking dissuaded them earlier.
Also, I think just the rise of Siraj, right, over the last 2 years, he's been the number one ODI bowler, and to his credit, he's done everything expected of him, and he's learned quickly, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, he might have had a indifferent World Cup, but till that point, he was a pretty good bowler. So yeah, again, we'll see. I mean, man of the series, more than likely, Virat.
Unless Shami takes another 5-4 and then,
That's a no-brainer. Yeah.
You never
yeah.
know. Yeah, that will seriously sway things. Yes. But yeah, on that note, guys, this was a great
Can I ask one more
session.
question?
Yes, Ravi.
So who will be the man of the match tomorrow?
Oh wow,
Who?
that's actually a difficult one. Maybe let me take a shot at this. Tomorrow's man of the match. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Gill, Shubman Gill. Yeah, a really strong century and puts us in like a spot where we are winning for sure. It might be Shubman Gill. Yep. Yeah, and I'll pass it on
So
to
let's try not to repeat. Let's not try not to repeat the answer. Yeah, go
let's
ahead.
try not to
Whoever
repeat.
was
That's a good one.
good with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Let me take it to you, Sanchit.
I'm gonna go with Jadeja.
Jadeja. Okay.
Interesting.
Super. Yeah. Satish?
Yeah, I was thinking about Jadeja. I think I don't know, its stage is set perfect for him
Hmm.
to do his thing, right? Whatever fielding, chip in with his batting, and then he he can really rule the middle overs with his bowling. So I go
I
for
took him
Jadeja.
already. So who's your second choice?
Who's your second?
I don't know. I was I'm thinking maybe Bumrah.
Bumrah. Got it.
If he
Got it.
can nick out like two or three in there, and he doesn't go for more than 35, 40. So
Got it. Ravi, let's end with you.
You picked all the best players, so I'm going to pick Rohit.
Rohit. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
in case he gets a good 50 or 80, and
Captain's
then
knock
that
in
puts
the finals. That'll be
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Or 100, Ravi.
Yeah,
The
that will be amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to see Rohit, the old Rohit, wherein, he gets going after 100 and gets to 150, 160 faster. I want that kind of an innings from him that now he's taking more chances than he did before. Like if you look into it, he wants to ramp up and then, get the strike rate high. He wants to set the tone. The older Rohit was used to slow down a little bit and then play a little longer and then ramp it up after he scores the 100. So if he can get that Rohit back, then it'll be amazing.
Well said. Yeah, well said. Yeah, on that note, guys, I think, yeah, I know we are all eagerly waiting for the match, and we're all going to be connected during the game. And all the audience who's seen this, thank you, and wish all of us all the best for tomorrow's game. May the best team win. And yeah, thanks again, guys. Thanks a lot.
Right. Bye bye.
Awesome. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.